Big shout to okjersey.com. Scan the QR code below and actually go to the link below to get affordable football shirts from all the European leagues, including the English clubs, all of them, Liverpool, Arsenal, United, City, Spurs, Chelsea, all of them, of course, are all there. You can get the current ones, past seasons, and also some absolute gems out there, vintage ones, and actually very affordable football shirts, high quality, like the one I'm wearing right here. It is very simple to get one. Let me show you how. You go to the website. It's very simple. You click on the Premier League, pick the club you want. For me, I pick Newcastle, for example. You go there, you will find all the current ones, training ones as well. You add whatever you want to the cart. Of course, check the sizes, add a patch, add to cart, but also never forget, as it says below, scan the QR code and put the code JUDGE in the checkout to get 8% discount. It's that easy. Just go to the website, check the football shirt you want. You will not regret it. Now, let's get back to our stream. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to the National League. New format right here at the National League, of course. With you guys, North London Derby is here. Wirtz is coming back on fire from Germany to lead the revival of Liverpool back into the title race. Of course, and Chelsea without Cole Palmer, broken toe. He's ducking Arsenal game again and again. For the third year running, he's ducking the Arsenal game, Cole Palmer, again by a broken toe. We know he kicked that TV stand, when we were kids, just on purpose, so he can just not be in the Arsenal game, of course. But big up everybody that is here. Hit the like button, people. If you guys are here, if you're watching this on the replay, like the video. All these guys, channels in the description. Jim from also Spurs is here as European Spurs, of course. Neil and Mark from the Frenemies podcast, of course, ripping Chelsea and Arsenal. And the famous one, the Irish one. Congratulations, the football story, Jamie Storey, of course. Right here, just coming back, of course, Humaran. We can see he's playing.
Sweating.
Yeah. How's everyone doing? Ready for the football to be back, huh?
Buzzing, Mo. Buzzing.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
Yeah. Let's start with the North London Derby right away. Listen, couple of things here. There's a lot of talk lately about the Spurs' defensive solidity away from home and Arsenal without a striker. They don't know who's going to be back. Rumors are saying that they're still not going to have any of the strikers back. Odegaard is not back yet. I'm going to start with Jim, actually. Can Spurs stop Arsenal?
Well, I think it's inevitable in my head that Arsenal are probably going to win the Premier League this year. They are, in terms of consistency, the most consistent and well-rounded squad in the league. I'm not saying they are the best first 11 in the league. I think we'd all agree that there's probably Liverpool and City probably edge them there. But in terms of squad depth and balance and being embedded into a journey with a manager as well, knowing what I think they know what they need to do this year. I think they've learned from mistakes of previous seasons. And the only people that could lose the title, could beat Arsenal to the title this season is themselves. And I don't think they're going to quite fall short this year. So can we stop them? I think Spurs have an opportunity to make it more difficult for them. Certainly. I think Spurs at home we have been abysmal, right? Isn't it 8 wins in a year? And as a season ticket holder, I can tell you I've never seen anything like it. It's insane that you go every week expecting to lose at home. But the away form is so starkly different. We're second in the league, aren't we, when it comes to away form? So I can see a world in which Spurs get a point because Arsenal will go in feeling very confident. Well, we'll have to ask you on the show today if that's the case as an Arsenal fan. But I imagine they're kind of licking their lips thinking, yes, let's really put the boots on their necks today, Spurs, when it comes to Sunday. But
from Spurs' point of view, you are the first team away from home. Yeah. How is I'm speaking more from a Spurs point of view. How is Thomas Frank has done for you?
Look, I'm not sure he's going to survive 18 months more with Spurs. I know that's a lot of people will be just disagreeing with me. I don't think you'll get the patience when you play such negative football with the fan base that we have. When I say negative, I mean defense first, risk aversion first style of football. It's just so hard to sit through when you lose and you play that way. As most fans, we can go out, when you go out swinging, it's a different feeling to going out with a whimper. And it just feels so pragmatic. He's got so many players back off the international break now. We're only missing Kulusevski and Maddison, who are major players. Now everyone else is back. He doesn't really. I have to see continuous improvements every week. And I've always said you have to give a manager a minimum of a season before you start passing serious judgment. And I want to give Frank that same respect. But what I've seen so far, I think the table flatters him. And the data underlying him shows the real story that we haven't been very good, and that an honest place in the table would probably be mid-table right now.
Does anybody see that for Spurs? Are Spurs by the way, there's Kulusevski coming back for them. There is, I think he's coming back in early December. Can Spurs battle for top 5?
Yeah, I think Spurs should be aiming to finish 5th or 4th. I think Spurs have the 5th best squad in the league, but I don't think they're playing like the 5th best side in the league, and therefore we're on track to finish something like 7th or 8th. And I think that would be an underachieving squad.
You're 5th. Fine.
Yeah.
You're 5th.
Yeah, we're at, but the table massively inflates reality of how we're playing. You look at the XG stats and how we're actually playing with the eye test. We've been the worst side of the 2 most weeks in the games we're winning at the moment. So, but look, Frank's a smart guy. He knows tactics.
Hold on, let me give you the stats that you're talking about. Goals per match, Spurs are 4th. Goals conceded per match, Spurs are 4th. Average position, 6. Clean sheets, 6. The problem is shots on target and XG, you're 15th.
Yeah, that's the underlying thing. It kind of feels like it's going to come to an end soon, and reality's going to level out.
Just scoring from set pieces, which is fine.
Do you think?
Yeah, go on.
Do you think? Because of how he was wearing last year and so open, he's trying to bring a little bit more stability back to what he's wearing and then try and go from there. Because I think last season, like what you were saying there, you would rather go out with a fight than with a whimper. But he's went out full gung-ho last year, and that's where he's ended up 17th. You know what I mean? I know you obviously won the Europa League, but that was the saving grace. I think he's trying to bring a little bit more stability back. And then, you're not going to win a Europa League every year to get Champions League. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to perform in the league to be able to do that, and not conceding loads of goals every weekend is going to help with that. And then maybe play the expansive football, because I think Brentford get a bad rap saying that they're a bit defensive, but they're always pretty good going forward, and they were always good against the bigger teams. That's why I give them a chance this weekend, definitely, even though Arsenal will be favourites, just because of they play well against the bigger teams and you play better away from home.
And also they are away from home, yes.
Big
thing.
And I think they play better when teams come onto them. Do you know what I mean? And they give them the space to win behind, where they're not the ones that are having to stamp their authority on the game. So I think they have like in that it'll probably play into their hands a little bit more.
Absolutely. There's two, if you really oversimplify football, there's two fundamental ways in which you approach a game. You're either the proactive side who wants to be on the ball, dominating possession and controlling a game, or you want to be excellent off the ball and reacting to a game. Thomas Frank is absolutely outstanding off the ball work, discipline, set pieces. How you expect Brentford to have to set up most weeks when the goal is just don't lose every week and get some wins along the way. That's the mission. But when you're managing a big six side, should we say in inverted commas, and the mission is you've got to go out there, define a style of football and blow people away and just be so good at what you do. It doesn't really matter what they do. They can't really stop you most weeks. And occasionally you'll adapt when you're playing away against Arsenal, the Emirates or whatever. He hasn't figured out the latter yet. He hasn't figured out how we're going to set the stall out and play, when we are the side trying to own a game. What he has done really well is what he'll do against Arsenal, I think. And that will be, how do I do it? Just press really well, be really organised, be tough to beat. And you wouldn't be surprised if Spurs nicked something from a corner and then it's just a really tense game from there on out and they might get lucky enough to come away with something. But then that's Arsenal are the best at doing that in the league, right? So we'd have to beat them at their own game to do that as well.
But Spurs have one of the best defenses in the league away from home. The problem. My problem is when people are overconfident about the games. Like if I'm looking at Spurs playing away from home, how you set up the defense, how Thomas Frank plays away from home, this can be a banana skin for Arsenal. I know that Arsenal always win against Spurs, but that actually didn't happen. And Postecoglou went to the Emirates and got a draw with kind of a little bit more expensive. So Thomas Frank has the capability to set up a team to actually get a point. I'm not saying win, but get a point against Arsenal.
Arsenal are missing their star striker as well, like Gabriel.
Arsenal got quite a few injuries. Yeah.
Love it.
Like in my opinion, that the fact that Arsenal are missing Gabriel, you don't have a striker, you don't even have backup players, and I don't want to turn this into Arsenal. I'm just gonna look from a Spurs point of view. The matchup in these games are obvious. You gotta stop Saka. There is no Eucharist. There is only Trossard. There's one way to play. Martinelli is not available. You can't bring Ahmad Wakey off the bench. There is no Odegaard off the bench. There's only Eze. So you know what to expect from Arsenal. Thomas Frank should be able to read the Arsenal team from a Spurs point of view. Should be able to know exactly where Arsenal are going to play, how they're going to play, where are they trying to open up Spurs to actually score a goal. The set pieces thing, Gabriel is not there, so you should be able to stop that set piece. Everything points that Spurs should be able to approach this game. Yeah, get a point. We can get a point. Absolutely. I know what Jim is talking about. You guys were spoiled by Pochettino and Ange Postecoglou in terms of like the style and going forward and the good football and all this stuff. I don't think that's what mattered for Spurs. I agree with what Mark said and what Jamie said. It's all about stabilizing the team. It is not about style of play and everything. You finished 17th last season, right? So for me, stabilizing the team and getting Champions League should be the target. You know what I mean?
That is
going back to old Spurs teams, though, that was the kind of philosophy that it's kind of embedded in how they used to play. Like you go back to the days of like Ginola and stuff. Like that was the football that they want to be known for. Like they lose games like, I don't know, 5-3 and stuff, but they like that type of football. I mean, from my own perspective, I don't know about you, but that's what I used to think of Spurs back in the day.
Yeah. Everyone thinks that.
Yeah,
everyone thinks that.
Guys, I want to tell you something for it. When like Jamie O'Hara was asked, when do you see Spurs winning the league? Right? Can someone answer this?
Is it?
Sure, never.
Go on.
Not in our lifetime.
Seriously, by the way, I keep asking this question.
I think they will win. I think they will win the league. I don't know. It's very hard to know now with Daniel Levy gone, like what way they're going to do in terms of like transfer policies but they have the infrastructure there, and I think a lot of that comes down to like being able to make different moves in the market. Because like you can't, a regular club can't compete with a Saudi money or I don't know, like the Cronkies, for example, like billionaire owners in that sense. So you have to do it a different way. And I think Spurs has just taken a little bit while to get there because they had to do it a very different path. But if they have the money now, they have the revenue, then why can't they go out and the difficult part would be like if they're going out and say in Buemo, for example, like realistically, with the money that Spurs would have, he should have probably went to them because they had Champions League football, but he goes to United because of no, maybe the wages or maybe the heritage of club. Like when they're kind of going to those battles, they're going to be big wins that they'll have to be able to take away from the other clubs that maybe have more money in the sense or more prestige in terms of like maybe winning a league or a Champions League. That's what they'll have to try to do to take that next step to compete for those honours.
Yeah,
They definitely could win it. Like,
I think it's one of those with Spurs where you're just like most Spurs fans aren't expecting us to turn into a Man City style club and be dominating title after title. Success for us, and some Spurs fans will disagree, but for most of us is if you get a title every decade, but you keep winning a few domestic cups along the way, that's kind of Spurs' kind of level or ceiling, unless something dramatic changes externally, like a big investor or something like that. But right now, as we are as a club, we've got similar infrastructure and revenue opportunities as Arsenal, who've shown you can build a squad big enough to compete for titles year after year with a good, consistent recruitment structure and a longer term approach. Spurs have got to do the same thing, right? And if Arsenal could do it, I think Spurs can too. But can they do it in the next 2 or 3 years? Probably not. Arsenal are in a position where they probably could. So it's just different areas of our journey. But we've seen parts of recent history where Spurs, Liverpool have fallen off and been behind the likes of Spurs for a number of seasons. And then they kind of find their way back to the top. And but that's the thing. You kind of need the other teams to have their days off. And they will. That's the beauty of football. So, yeah, Spurs can win a title. But I don't think it's going to be in the next 2 or 3 years.
I don't know. I have a feeling that the mentality must change completely from Spurs for Spurs to win a title, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that is a big deal for Spurs.
But Levy going is one of those shifts, right? If this new ownership model means a lot more aggressive attitude towards winning, I think.
Yeah, I always think though we just say like they have to win a title, they have to win a Premier League, they have to win a Champions League. But if you go through it realistically, Chelsea and Man City, billionaire owners, Liverpool and Man United won Premier Leagues. Leicester is obviously the unique one, and then that's it. Now there's 5. Or Blackburn back in the day, and they had millionaire owners.
Do you see Man United?
Well.
Do you see Man United winning a title first or Spurs?
Man U.
I don't know.
You
would have said that 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? And then you look at
you'd say it now. By the way, you missed one team that won the
Premier League. Arsenal. Yeah.
I won't bring it up. But
no, my point to that is that like other than it's very hard to break that mold of like the biggest teams, and like Spurs have kind of broken into the top 6, for example, or the big 6. But like they haven't taken that step to win a Premier League because they're probably just below like that kind of level as a club at the minute. But like other than Leicester, which was a freak season, like no other team has been able to do it, and the reason is because it's so difficult. You know what I mean?
But
it will be easier, right?
Mo, I'm with you on that. Mentality has to play a part. Look, Jim, we're seeing a typical Spurs fan here in Jim, always depressed. Doesn't matter if it's Levy, post-Levy, it doesn't matter. The mentality thing, I think there's a lot, we kind of skirt over it. There needs to be a mentality shift. I will come with a manager. These guys have had winners managing their teams before, and they've all come out, A, not winning, and B, coming out with the same thing. There's something really wrong ingrained within this club in terms of the winning mentality. There has to be a mentality shift. We're talking about some of the most serial winners in our generation, right? Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte. These guys aren't wet wipes. They're winners.
No, just to be clear though, like Mourinho, I think that's a bit of a misleading one. The name paints a picture that we had some amazing manager at the peak of his powers. Conte, I think, is a prime example of where another club would go, right, we've got Conte, we need to go all in on Conte. Yep. Whereas Spurs go, let's go 70% in, but let's just be a bit careful in case he doesn't stay next year. And that's where you're just never going to get that last 10% you need to keep those managers happy and win things in that. But
Jim, you sacked Mourinho on the eve of a final.
Daniel Levy did, to be clear. I wasn't involved in that one. But yes, I do agree putting Ryan Mason in charge of a cup final over Jose Mourinho is probably a decision that no one in their right mind would make. There is some context to that, though. That was the same week as the Super League broke. Apparently, Mourinho stormed into Levy's office and went absolutely nuts that Spurs had agreed to take part in that, and they had a huge row, and it was the time to pull the trigger on him. But I still agree. You let him take that cup final, get rid of him afterwards. It's yeah. But look, you had Vinay Venkatesham for a long time. I think it's the right signals that Spurs are bringing in people like Fabio Paratici, who's won titles in Italy, Vinay Venkatesham, who did a good job at Arsenal, and changing the ownership structure and removing what was deemed to be the stereotypical blocker to taking big risks. So I think those three things have changed. I've always been quite optimistic that I think Spurs, the legacy that Levy has, will only be recognised and appreciated when he's gone. And I think in a few years, Spurs will be in a very strong position because of the legacies left to allow them to spend like they are every season at the moment. And he deserves credit for that.
I'm going to tell you something, Jim, to be honest with you. If it wasn't for Daniel Levy and these last 10 years, Spurs would not have been spoken about globally at all. We would not have been speaking about Spurs here
100%
on the show or any other show. That's what 100%. People don't realize. I'm being serious. This Big Six thing, because Spurs, yes, have reached the top in terms of like a Champions League and challenging for the league, and you haven't won. And Pochettino is a big part of it. We would not have been sitting here talking about Tottenham Hotspur at all. Yeah. I wouldn't have gone in 2019. When I went to England, I went to Spurs game. I was in London. I went to Spurs game. It's a Spurs game. You know what I mean? It's a good stadium. It was a good team. You had Dele Alli, you had Eriksen, you had good players. And I went to see Spurs play, you know, because a good team. That's because of Daniel Levy. Absolutely. I think Daniel Levy made Spurs relevant globally. I know that people think that this is disrespect to North London and the people there, but you gotta be on the globe to actually be a big club to get that revenue. And I think he did.
I think he was if you exclude the kind of, outliers like Man City, who have a different kind of ownership structure, or Newcastle that's just not really comparable to one Daniel Levy running a club at, he was the most successful chairman in the league by a country mile for the situation he inherited and what he finished at. He literally you look at the clubs around Spurs at the time, Aston Villa and Everton, they were similar sized clubs in a similar position. And you look where Spurs are now versus where they are now, that's down to Daniel Levy. People always say, oh, he didn't pull the trigger on X, Y, and Z player. Well, he did pull the trigger on Pochettino. And he did bring in Eriksen, Dele Alli, Moussa Dembele, Jan Vertonghen, Toby. We can't always just give him the bad. We've got to say this guy did a lot of good. But his fundamental flaw was just that risk aversion, just at the end, when you're so close to something special. And I think Spurs will reap the fruits of their labour now for a while. But there will be a time in 10 years where people see other clubs catching up like Everton, Aston Villa, and they'll go, wait a second, you don't have Daniel Levy layering down these continuous foundations that were, keeping us ahead of those kind of clubs. So he's going to be a big miss, I think, in the long term.
From an Arsenal point of view, so just moving away from Spurs a little bit, I know, we got Spurs fans. From an Arsenal point of view against Spurs, are you confident of winning this game, Neil?
I said this on our podcast a couple of days ago. Arsenal, everyone's talking about Arsenal. This is just, they're not even looking at Spurs. It's like, guaranteed 3 points for Arsenal. Guaranteed 3 points. I am a little bit concerned. You said banana skin. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a tough game. Don't be surprised if Spurs, even as organised as they are, they might even go 1-0 up at the Emirates. And then we'll see what this Arsenal team's made of, because we're talking like, yeah, Spurs are just going to come over to get rolled over. I don't see it like that. You're missing Big Gabby. But don't be surprised, by the way, Mo. Sources have said, don't be surprised if Gyökeres is in the matchday squad. I'm just throwing it out there, right? He may or may not be in training already. But look, I think whether Gyökeres is in or not, I think it's going to be a tough game. If Arsenal fans are thinking 3 points, just turn up and that'll be that. Spurs haven't lost away all season. I'm not as confident as a lot of, not just Arsenal fans, but also
why you're not
fans
confident?
In general.
Why you're not confident?
Spurs are organised. They haven't lost away from home. And I think, yes, for all our play, we do struggle to break down players. And missing Gabriel is going to be a key point. We joke about it, right? Set piece FC. you got my man saying, "Hey, oh, they're missing their striker, Gabriel." But you know what? He's a menace in both boxes.
Yeah.
And we're going to miss that in both
That's a compliment, by the way. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
It is. I took it as one.
Yeah, Jamie, that was a dig.
No, it wasn't.
I have to give you a rebuttal to the Spurs mentality thing here, because I think this is the exact reason why City get over the line more often than Arsenal in recent seasons, is because, and it's that the AFTV joke. I know they don't represent your fan base's reality at all, by the way. I'm not saying City, but there's that one everyone overly clips of you guys clapping the point against City, and they always say that was a moment that Arsenal where you Arsenal. So I feel that this is the kind of example where Arsenal should be going, we are going to beat them. It's Spurs, like, let's crush them kind of thing. But it's almost like you guys are almost nervous about being in the front seat of, oh my God, we are actually massive favourites for the title. Like, that is kind of quite daunting. Or am I missing it?
Well, not from my perspective. I've already said it. I've said it on this live stream. I've said it on air several times. I have us as favourites. Mark always goes at me because like City have got pedigree, and you've got us as I've got us as favourites because we have the most complete squad. I've got to disagree with what you said earlier, by the way, Jim. I think we've got a better first 11 than Man City. We can go for man if you want, but I think we have a better first 11 than Man City. I genuinely believe we've got the best squad. And I do believe these boys have turned to men. I do believe Saliba's 3 years older from that 2023 season where we got chased down. Saka's 3 years older. Declan Rice. I don't look at Declan and Big Gabby and David Raya even. I don't look at them and think these boys will crumble. Going away to Villa, going away to Newcastle, going away to Etihad. I don't think we'll crumble. I don't think you'll see that 4-1 battering we took when City were chasing us down and we just fell apart. I do feel the scars that we've gained over the last 3 years. Listen, I've got us favourites. If we do it, I'll be chuffed. Am I worried about City? Yeah, I am. Am I worried about this one individual game that Mo asked about, Spurs? I think we'll get the win, but I don't think it'll be straightforward. I really, really don't. Because Thomas Frank knows how to go away to his big boy. He's doing it at Brentford. It caused us problems when he was at Brentford. And I think he'll cause us problems again. I do also think, though, that if we can win the midfield battle and keep
you will definitely win the midfield battle.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, Sar's gone down there as well, right?
But they have Bentancur and Palhinha. 80% of the passes sideways or backwards, or 90%.
They've been playing to their strengths. They've been playing to their strengths.
So, Jamie, so what do you think, Jamie? Do you think the Spurs can get a point?
No. Arsenal will have more of the ball. So Palhinha and Sarr will want to be obviously aggressive and tackling, which is their strong suit. You know what I mean? It's not like that's why as you're saying, is that it's a banana skin game because of that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of, this is Spurs' strength in terms of a game, and it's maybe Arsenal's, I wouldn't say weaknesses, I don't think that's the right word, but like it's a more difficult game than what we've seen before. So you're saying the midfield battle, but that might actually suit Spurs, the fact that they don't have to, because they're not going to be playing sideways passes. They're going to be tackling the likes of Saka, like Rice, like Zubimendi. Do you know what I mean? So that's what they might actually, like if you go to the City game, like that's how they like capitalize on City. They gave them the ball, they won the ball high up, and they got the Palhinha goal. So I think that's why maybe in Arsenal fans' head, they're like, if you look at that City game, for example, you're thinking like that could happen to us. But I think this could be like a big game for the title because Liverpool are obviously playing first against Forest at home. They win that. And listen, I think Liverpool are still out of it at this moment in time. But if City win away to Newcastle and then say Spurs and Arsenal draw, then it kind of throws a spanner in the works. But Liverpool and City have an easier fixtures up until Christmas. And then with Gabriel out, it could make it a little bit more, I don't know, edge of your seat stuff maybe leading up to Christmas.
No, I agree. I think everything you said there is true. Spurs won't try and win the on-the-ball battle. They won't try out pass and battle.
So can someone explain to me, I want anybody here on the panel, because I asked this question yesterday, anybody here to tell me how, guys, do you think Arsenal will score a goal in this game? Again, it's a Spurs team that might be packed at the back, right? If Eucharist might be there, might not be there. Great, okay, fair. If you lose the most important piece in your set piece routine, the first contact, the guy that everybody is attracted to, even if you're gonna get somebody else, people follow Gabriel. We know that. It's very obvious. Like Van Dijk for Liverpool in set pieces, the big guy that everyone follows. I want to understand, how do you guys think that Arsenal will score in this game?
Here's one thing we do know. The North London derby always provides goals and excitement, right? And mistakes. Spurs have been guilty this season as well. We're talking about XG and scoring goals or whatever. There's some key ones there for them, right? They've got, they've scored 8 more goals than they should have, or expected goals and whatever else. The lack of through balls, again, bit of an issue for them. May not be an issue in this game if we're putting it on them. But the other thing is they've made errors that have led to goals, I think. I mean, Jim can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think you've made a couple of errors that have led to goals.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
But failing that, we put a lot of emphasis on Gabriel, and rightly so. He's our leader at the back. He's the biggest menace in the opposition box. But he ain't the only one. Timber has scored. I think he scored a brace in one game from corners.
Yep, Leeds.
You've then got Saliba. Let's not sleep on Saliba. Calafiori is a danger, a threat on the edge of the box and in the box. Declan's delivery is going to be on point. You can guarantee that. And the other menace, who we may or may not see because we don't know if he's fit or not, is Gyökeres. So can we still score from set pieces without big Gabby? Yeah. Like, is it better to have Gabby in the team? Of course. But these guys are a menace. And I think we've still got enough threat and enough quality to be able to go 1-0 up against Spurs. Having said that, if we're putting on them and we're getting frustrated, let's not get it twisted. We can get caught like we've done against City as well. That's how City got their goal, right? They caught the ball off us in midfield, straight through to Haaland, and they were in. Luckily, Spurs don't have Haaland. So
I don't think you're that reliant on one player either. I kind of just see you as a side that's quite consistently scoring across the pitch and has built in a way in which the system's just maximizing output rather than trying to get maximum out of one player. I agree. And I like on the counter as well, I just, Spurs don't have a standout goal scorer. We're kind of played in a way which is similar. It's all built around off the ball play and systems plays and set pieces. Someone in the comments says it's going to be a stinky 0-0. I think we can all see that. But the North London derby, we know we're biased, we're Arsenal and Spurs, but for me, it's the most chaotic derby most of the time. And I know the rivalries between fans, there's arguments over which one's the biggest. I'm not saying Spurs and Arsenal are necessarily the biggest rivalry, but in terms of chaotic derbies, they always seem consistently to be absolutely mental. You never get a stinky 0-0 when it's Spurs versus Arsenal, or you very rarely do. I think it's just going to be. I think I could just see you guys just something chaotic happening at the start, someone getting a player sent off, or just a stupid mistake and it just being bonkers right up until the end, and it being like a 2-2 draw or something.
That's what happens. Spurs been fourth most after United, Chelsea, City since the Premier League began, but both Liverpool and Arsenal have spent less and have been more competitive and won more than Spurs in Premier League. So Levy just done a decent job. So Zayn, my point about Levy isn't about him winning trophies. It's about him putting Spurs as a team that is actually just in contention. Just a team that is podcasts talk about, a team that people buy shirts for. You know what I mean? Like here, amateur team, like my team, like the amateur team, the guy that ran the team, Kamal, he had, for all these years, he always bought us Spurs shirts because he's a Spurs fan. Why an Egyptian living in America would be a Spurs fan? It's because of Daniel Levy. Like there is other Liverpool fans out there from the Michael Owen time, from Steven Gerrard. Spurs fans is because of how Daniel Levy brought this team to the level of, like, we're talking about the best in the world. We were talking about Vertonghen, and Alderweireld as some of the best partners in the league. We were talking about Dele Alli being this Harry Kane, Young Min's son. This is Daniel Levy, Dembele. These are the players. Even Danny Rose, international, Kyle Walker, look, Gareth Bale, and all these people.
Yeah.
This is what he did, Daniel Levy, for Spurs. The people don't realize that, because the people that live in the UK and support Spurs, they didn't see the growth of Spurs fan base outside here in Houston, where I live. The growth of people supporting Spurs, like people actually having channels for Spurs. That is, you won't see a Crystal Palace fan here. You won't see a Bournemouth fan here, right? You might not see an Everton fan. Some states they have Everton fans, but you won't see that, and that is because of him. to be honest. Big up everybody that joined us, guys. Guys, we're not even on 100 likes. We got over 400 people in the house. Big up everyone that joined us from the Football Terrace. Big up Terry and the guys. Hit that like button, people. We need to get at least to 200 likes live. For Arsenal, Jamie, are you away from them that you think that you're not going to be able to challenge them for the title? Do you see Arsenal being consistent? Remember, they play Spurs, they play Villa away, they play Chelsea. They play Villa at home or away?
At home,
Arsenal play. Do Arsenal play Villa away or at home?
Bayern Munich, they're playing Chelsea, Bayern Munich.
They play Villa away right after Brentford as well. Do you see Arsenal keeping the distance between them and Manchester City?
Between them and Manchester City, I think Manchester City have more favourable games, don't they? I think Liverpool have the easiest fixtures now until Christmas, and Man City have the second easiest. I think Arsenal have the 8th hardest. Like, listen, you can kind of look into that whatever way you want. I still think Arsenal in these moments will. I think this is what defines like title winners. You know what I mean? Like going into difficult games when it's kind of say maybe you have a big injury to one of your better players and just kind of everything's not falling in the right place and you go out and get a win. I think we've seen like glimpses of that so far. You think about the Newcastle game, which I think was big for Arsenal. Like if I look back to last season, I think those kind of moments that came around, they didn't get it over the line. Like you go back to the West Ham game when Liverpool were playing Man City that weekend, it effectively like ended their title race. So I think right now, I think I agree. I would say Arsenal have the squad to be able to go on and challenge, even with the injuries they have at the minute. I think that's the one thing when you go back to last season. They said that they got injuries and that's effectively what ended their title race because they weren't able to compete at the same level. But they've spent money now to be able to cope with those injuries. You think you go back at the start of the season when Saka was injured, Madueke came in, had a good like impact. Then he comes out, Saka comes back in and they're able to manage it a little bit better. So I think we're going to see. I think it's very hard to judge because if you think, like, even if you look at Liverpool, like they're 8th, they win a game and other results got away. They could be back into like say 3 points behind Man City this weekend. You know what I mean? It's just it can kind of go anyway. So we'll learn a lot about Arsenal leading up to Christmas, I think, and especially if Gabriel is out up until then. But they're my favourites right now. I think they're playing the most complete football in terms of getting results. I think the other teams have a lot more vulnerability than Arsenal do, and I think that's why they'll effectively win the league from what I can see right now.
Do you guys think that if Liverpool get closer to Arsenal, let's say if Arsenal drop points or something and Liverpool win their games, do you think that Liverpool can get back into it?
No.
Yeah.
No. The thing is, yeah, on paper, yeah, they could get back into it in terms of closing the points gap for a period of time, over a period of time. Sure. But if you're talking about come May, will Liverpool be there? No. Because they're going to drop. They're gonna drop points. They got too many holes. They got too many problems through their 11. By the way, Alisson, no one's even talking about it. He gets injured a lot. He does get injured a lot. But let's just say Alisson stays fit for the rest of the season. That back four, not convinced. I'm not convinced by any of that back four, to be honest with you. I think they've got problems there. Their midfield, we can walk through their midfield. Gravenberch, is he the same player? McAllister, I like Gravenberch, by the way. McAllister hasn't been the same player. This ongoing injury, I think it's getting on for a bit of time now where it's beyond the injury, really. Are we starting to think, is McAllister the player we thought he was? I don't know. You've then got to embed the new signings. Wirtz, everyone's talking about Wirtz. No one's talking about the fact that Ekitike ain't scored a goal for a month. Right? Salah looks rubbish. He does, it's fact, doesn't he? He looks rubbish. You don't fancy Salah's first touch at the moment. He doesn't look good. They've got problems throughout. Cody Gakpo, okay, fine, fair enough. But I think Liverpool will continue to drop points, Mo. I'm not just saying it because they've lost 5 games out of the last 6 or whatever it is, 5 of the first 11. That means they're going to lose another 5 in the next 11. I don't mean it like that. I just think they've got too many holes and too many weaknesses to survive. You can't hide in a 38-game season. You just can't hide. You can hide in a cup comp, but you can't hide. The league will always weed out those people. and those teams. And I think
I kind of disagree with your assumption a little bit. You're assuming that they won't get better.
I'm assuming they've got too many holes to fix.
You remember City last season? They had this one on 12, right? Me and Jimmy were doing shows and then we never assumed that they're never going to go back. We didn't say that they're going to win the league, but at the end, they collected the most points in the second half of the league. If Liverpool can recover in the next 5 games, which is, as Jamie said, is the easiest one in the league, that will give confidence, because you aren't going to tell me that Van Dijk is a bad player or Konate is a bad player or Conor Brad is a bad player. They're not bad players. They are in bad form, and the manager is not finding the right tactics. These are not scrubs. These are not bad players for me to rule out that they're going to come back to play good. I'm not saying they win the league, but they can actually make the distance a little bit shorter for them, between them and the top, within the next 5 games, and that will galvanize the team to at least try. I'm not saying win the league, but you're assuming that they're going to get worse from here on.
I'm saying they're going to stay the same. Look, let's go when
staying the same means relegation.
They've had 2 runs. No. Listen, let's take the 11 games.
1 in 6 we've seen means relegation. If they're going to win only 1 game every 6, this is a relegation. That means from now until the end of the season, they're going to win 5 games or 4 games. That is less than 40 points. So they're going to collect 30 points. That means they're going to get relegated.
Take the whole 11 games, Mo. Don't take the last 6. But if you take the whole, we've seen Liverpool go on a run of wins, right? And what did it do for them? Did it give them enough confidence? They were lucky in a lot of those wins, I think we'll probably all admit. But it masked over the cracks. But I think what we're seeing is the cracks are bigger than we first thought. They're bigger than what Man City's cracks were. And Mark and I did a segment on this where City did pick up the most points. They went on a run, a real stable run. Pep did this in his first season, by the way. Everyone slept on them because Conte won it at Chelsea in 2017. But City were the form team going into the following season. They put a run together. Look, Mo, they could put a run together. But even when they have put a run together, they haven't been able to. They then fell apart, didn't they?
Mark and
What's
everyone,
to say they won't do it again?
Can we go back to that point that you actually don't like? To be honest with you, I'm thinking what Jamie said, and I'm building based on Jamie's assumption, which is I actually think what Jamie said is correct. Jamie said that he thinks the easy run is coming in. So he's assuming they might not win every game, but they can gain some confidence. The quality of these players, like you said, that they have a lot of holes in their starting 11. No, they don't. No, they don't.
They do.
I think
Mo, they put that run together. Sorry, Jamie, before I kick it back to you.
Yeah, no, you're good.
They put a winning run together before, Mo, and it did nothing for their confidence because they fell apart when they saw Crystal Palace and Galatasaray and Burnley or whoever it was.
No, they didn't put a run together. They
won the first 5 league games
without performances, with last-minute goals and.
Exactly. That should build confidence, though, right? It didn't.
No, it didn't. No, it doesn't, because everyone was questioning the performances and the quality of Mohamed Salah and how he's playing and how he's fell off and the grief and Jota and all this stuff. Listen, I'm not saying that Liverpool will go back, but your assumption is based on I've seen them in the last 5 games. Liverpool, this is not the real reflection of the quality of these players. It's definitely
11 games now, Mar. That's enough for me to make a judgment, I think. We've seen 11 games. They've looked ropey, not just in the last 6. They've looked ropey in 11. When's it going to come together?
I think Liverpool's issue.
I think. Sorry to interrupt. I think Mohamed Salah is also a really big talking point. You can't just skim over that, right? Because if you have a look at last season, Mo Salah single-handedly carried Liverpool to the league. Right, and nearer to the end, when they pretty much had won it, you can see that his form already started to drop off. Now, I believe that Mohamed Salah is a top-end professional, and even though they're almost winning the league, I believe that in every single game, he's still giving 100%. And if he's still giving 100%, those last few games of last season, he was irrelevant. Like, where was he? And have a look again this season. He hasn't really done anything. He's been so vital for them. They've been so dependent on them. Neil's right. They've got lots of holes. And that Mo Salah can't be skipped over. I think it's the beginning of the end for him.
Is it fair, though, to say that we look at this often as a Liverpool problem when there's a reason why 3rd in the league and 10th in the league are within 3 points of each other? And that is because the majority of the league are trying to find a new way to play because what worked last season doesn't work anymore. And aside from Arsenal, everyone's trying to figure that out. Sorry, is that you, Jamie?
No. Yeah. I said this on the terrace there last week. Everyone is in a crisis every single week. But Mo, I think I said it on this as well. I said it on the Rational League. Chelsea lost to Sunderland. They're in a crisis. Spurs lose to Chelsea. They're in a crisis. Like Liverpool, like Arsenal are kind of a little bit further away. But I'm telling you now, Arsenal's time will come where they won't get a run of results together because of how competitive the league is. That's going to happen. With Liverpool's issues right now, and someone said it in the chat there, Liverpool's issues right now are systemic. It's not a case of, I think players' quality hasn't been good enough 100%. But if you actually go and look at like how Liverpool play, they're trying to change. And to come to your point, a few teams are trying to do it. They're trying to change the way they play. But Liverpool are trying to change the way champions play because they won the league last year. And a big part of that comes down to Trent. If you go back to the Man City game, Liverpool played Man City, and what Haaland did for the majority of the game was sit on Van Dijk and Robertson. And the reason he did that wasn't because Konate was, like, say, he didn't want to get into a battle with Konate, or he maybe seen a weakness in Van Dijk. It was because he wanted to let Konate have the ball because Van Dijk and Robertson are Liverpool's best progressors of the ball. Since Robertson's come back into the team and Kirk has come out, Liverpool have been better at moving the ball into their more attacking players. And Konate can't do that. When we had Trent was someone that was an out ball for Konate. The penalty that Doku got against Liverpool, that came from Konate passing the ball into Salah, who lost it, wasn't strong enough on the ball. They go down the other end and they score. Konate is obviously... He's not defending well enough either. And I think that's when you look at maybe some of the players. But systemically, Liverpool have lost Trent. They're not moving the ball into those attacking players. Even if you go back to maybe some of the olden days of like the great Liverpool teams, like in recent years, Mane, Salah, were players that would run in behind. They don't have that outright pace now. So everyone's coming to the ball. The ball isn't getting fed into them and it's getting real congested. Then they're just losing the ball too easily. So that's why when we talk about like Liverpool's issues, is systemic. Do I think they can get it right? I think there is solutions there to be found, but that's why you look at Slot as a manager and you're saying, what can he do to find those answers?
Is he going to find them?
It depends. But that's what it comes down to. And I think that's what the best managers do find. Like if you go back to when the year after Liverpool won the league, or I don't know if it was actually that year. It was the year that Trent moved into midfield. Liverpool were being killed in transition. And it took them until March of that season to push Trent into midfield and for us to play like a 4-man box midfield and to stop to get an easy transition on. So it takes time. And that's when people say like, oh, we need to bring Klopp back. It took Klopp that long to figure out what he needed to do. So it depends on if Slot can find out or figure out how to get the most out of these players, in maybe leading up to that Arsenal game, which is the start of the new year. Say if Liverpool are like, I don't know, 5 points or 6 points behind Arsenal going into that game, and then they maybe win that game. I'm not saying they will. It's one of the hardest places to go, but it gives them an opportunity to do something. But I think there's too many question marks over the team right now to say that it's going to click.
And it's an ongoing problem, Jamie, isn't it? Because like you're saying he might find the answer. I guess we'll see. But he himself said teams started playing a bit different, right, against you boys halfway through or just after halfway through the season last season. Now your lead was unassailable at that point anyway, and everyone else was tripping over themselves. But let's forget the 11. Let's just not talk about the 11 games. Let's go back 20 games. The last 9 games of last season. I don't know the stats. I'm sure someone in the comments will come up with it. But you've lost 9 of your last 20 games.
Can I interrupt you here?
Of course.
The last part of the season, last season, is irrelevant. Liverpool already knew that they won the league by February. They were in chasing numbers. They were in chasing records. Nobody was trying to chase the record. The only one that actually was chasing record, and he already broke that record, was Mohamed Salah. He was trying to break the record of the highest GA in the league in 38 games, and he already got that, if I'm not mistaken. He already knew that he's going to break it. Liverpool were not chasing a Centurion. They weren't chasing 100. They weren't chasing anything. They weren't chasing longest undefeated streak. They weren't chasing anything. Liverpool literally were going on vacation. Salah was traveling to Egypt and Ibiza, and they went to Dubai, and they came back to the games, and then they went to vacation again.
Well, he's still on vacation then, isn't he?
No one. But I think Neil, you're being disingenuous, because you're talking about Arsenal last season. If I'm going to be that, Chelsea finished 5 points behind you and City finished 3 points behind you. That
Yeah.
is not a reflection of the difference between the two teams last season. But because Arsenal took their foot off the gas, and that is the problem. I'm not saying about you. That is the problem when people analyze one team, but they fail to have the same analysis for another team. Because Arsenal at the end of the season were playing for nothing in the league, while Chelsea and City were playing for Champions League. That's why they were given 100% every game until the first game for Chelsea. But you weren't given 100%, but you don't have the same. And if I tell you that Arsenal ended the season terrible last season, and City were able to collapse it to only 3 points behind you, and Chelsea are only 5 points behind you, you would tell me, no, but we didn't play at the end of the season because we weren't playing for the league. I would actually believe you this, but you wouldn't say that for Liverpool, who we sat here analyzing Liverpool games, and we failed to talk about anything because there was nothing to talk about, because no one took it seriously, because Arsenal gave up on the league when he didn't sign a forward in January, when Mikel Arteta was crying for a forward, and your ownership didn't give him a forward, and you gave up, and you're focused on the Real Madrid game. Nobody cared when you lost to Brentford at the end of the season. Nobody cared, right? Because you were focused on the PSG or whatever, right? Or that game. Nobody cared for Liverpool. They were out of the cups. They already lost the Carabao Cup. They already won the league. They already celebrated. Fans were celebrating all over the world about Liverpool winning number 20 already. That was a march. Right? So it's not a reflection of how the season ended at all. Gravenberch, by the way, was tired because the league was over. It was done.
I got to disagree, Mo. I got to politely, respectfully disagree. I don't think we fell off. I don't think you can point to a point where Arsenal fell off last season. We dropped points consistently throughout the season, but when the league was done, I didn't see any drop off. I saw us struggling with injuries, and that's not an excuse, but I didn't see us drop off. In fact, we were in a battle for second at one point, I believe, towards the end of the season. But I don't think Liverpool. Okay, Mo, you could make that argument about Liverpool, but I don't think you can make it about
Jim. I know you have to go.
No, it's all good.
Whenever,
I'll just
whenever you want to drop, let us know. Just fine.
Yeah, I've got 5
sorry.
more minutes. Yeah, I got 5 minutes. That's all good.
No,
sorry. I mean, yeah. Look, that was my point. I think Liverpool. You can argue that they did have a drop off. They'd won the title, whatever else. Arsenal, I don't think so. I think we were just poor throughout the season. I think we stumbled over a lot, and I think we were kicking ourselves. And I think we were desperate to try and win those games. I do think Arteta has built this spirit within this Arsenal squad that every game you go in and give 100%. I don't think we saw a drop off. I really don't. I just think we were poor. Like I genuinely believe we were poor. We were stodgy, which I guess people can say that about.
Hold on. Can I give you guys the results for Arsenal at the end of the season? From end of February, when Arsenal gave up, they lost to West Ham, they drew Forest, they drew Man United, and then they won 2 games by 1-0 against Chelsea and 2-1 against Fulham. A draw Everton, a draw Brentford, 1 win, a draw, a loss, a draw. What is this?
Yeah, but go from August. We drew. How many games did we draw last season? 14. You've named 5
at the end of the season.
Throughout the whole season.
And you lost 2 games. No, I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 draws and 2 losses within a span of like 12 games. I'm sorry. If you started the season like this, you would have been completely done. In the beginning of the season, like in the first 7 games, 8 games, you dropped points in 2 games. And then, yes, you had a drop in 4 games, but then you won 3 games. And then for a period of 15 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15 games, you haven't lost 1 game. Come on now. You got to admit that Liverpool
going into the last 4 games. It was, I remember, do you remember go back? It was like the relegation was done, the league was done. It was just Chelsea, Forest, and Villa had an outside chance of the Champions League as well.
City had to win a couple of games before that, game week 34, 35. They won them, and then they're like, yeah. Okay, we're finished.
Yeah.
We made it.
Yeah, they were fine.
Come on,
so,
Neil.
It was done.
Yeah, come on.
And also, I'm going to tell you something, Neil. I'm going to tell you something, guys. Mohamed Salah, I'm Egyptian. Mohamed Salah had a stinker this season, right? Mohamed Salah currently on the same GA as the signing of the season, Brian Mbeumo and Philip Mateta, now one of the best strikers. 1 behind Joao Pedro. The thing about Mohamed Salah...
It's different standards, though. It's different standards.
Yes, that's the point. It's a different standards for him, right? But it's not like Mohamed Salah has been going through the season without any contribution, for example. That didn't happen. He still contributed to some of the goals that Liverpool score. But you want to talk about defensive problems? Yeah, there are defensive problems at Liverpool. You're just, I don't know, like, I'm not going to rule out that.
Your mom. Oh.
I'm not going to rule out Liverpool completely. Big up, John, for the super chat. Really appreciate you guys. We got about 400 people in the house. We're not even on 100 likes, and we have 200 votes. So people are voting without liking the video. The like button pushes the video to the new viewers. And also check out these guys, of course, channels in the description as well. All of them, the Frenemies podcast, that's Mark and Neil together, Football Story, and also Spurs. Thank you, John. Big up more on the panel. Smash those likes and subscribe, peeps. Come on now. Let's get at least to 200 likes live, people. Come on, 200 likes is easy. I don't think it's that hard. Listen, for Liverpool, so you're ruling out Liverpool completely, Neil. You're like, you don't think they're going to be there?
Come May, I don't think they'll be there. Yeah, I really don't think they'll be there. I genuinely don't. And I want to see, I'm yet to see Liverpool fans correct me on this.
No, but do you not think, Neil, there's a, like, and I agree that it's most likely they don't have a massive resurgence, and it's most likely Arsenal just continuously kind of chip along as the most consistent side. But is there also a fair way to look at this? You could say Arsenal were the only ones that went into the season with knowing a way of playing that's working. Everyone else is having this big adaptation going on at the moment, trying to change their way they play and fit in new signings. But the likelihood is other teams behind Arsenal are going to increase and improve more than Arsenal, simply because Arsenal are just so close to their ceiling already. There's more room for the other teams to grow and catch up. And we've just seen so many times before that, you know, how often did we see Fergie at United just say, if you were within 12 points at Christmas, you got a chance? And how many times did we all rule them out and then come back and do it? I'm just not saying that you're not favourites and it's going to happen, but I feel like there might be a little bit overconfidence there in the sense of ruling out the squad of just so many.
Arrogance or overconfidence? Arrogance or overconfidence?
I think it's understandable confidence because of how well Arsenal are playing, but I think it might.
We've got a title challenge. Let me throw it out there. It's the eye test. What I've seen from Liverpool this season, not only am I ruling them out of winning the title this season, I think they've got too much ground to make up of the teams ahead of them. I think Chelsea will finish ahead of Liverpool. That is my prediction. I think Chelsea will finish ahead of Liverpool. If you're asking about who's in a title race, well, I assume that's the question here. I don't think Liverpool, of course they can do it, but if I'm a betting man, I'm not saying I am, and I'm not, this isn't betting advice. I'm just saying Liverpool.
No, I do that example all the time. I say, if you have £100 and you have to bet on somebody to finish ahead of the other, where would you bet it? Like, I don't bet, you know, but if I give you £100 and tell you, you have to spend it today, and you have to put a bet in, who would you bet on? Chelsea finish above Liverpool or Liverpool finish it above?
Oh, it's tough.
£100 just on that. I think it's close. I'm being a bit facetious, but I think Chelsea will finish above Liverpool. I genuinely do think Chelsea will finish above Liverpool, and that's not to say
I've got a Chelsea fan here, by the way, so can actually.
Where's your money, Mark?
Well, Chelsea.
Finish above Liverpool, yeah?
Yeah, because you know what? I know I'll disagree with you as well, Mo. I agree with Neil. I think there's too many holes. I think Mo Salah is not the same player. They were so dependent on him. And even the first initial 5 games which they won, there was already concerns about the way that they were playing. Right? And then they relied so much on these last-minute penalties, these last-minute goals. Once that dried up, yeah, this is where we are right now. I think it's very difficult for Arne Slot. He has a lot of pressure on him as well to include all of these like expensive players. You can't leave 125 million on the bench. You can't leave 80 million pounds of a striker on the bench. He has all this pressure to play them. He's had to think, okay, it's not working. I've got to stop that. I'll play Ekitike, take off Kirkes because my God, he left so much space open. Bring back Robertson, but Robertson's almost at the end of his career as well.
He's an old man.
He's an old guy. You've got an aging squad, right? You've got a bunch of new players that there's pressure to play them. It's going to be a difficult job for Arne Slot. I reckon that they could potentially put a run of games together. But even the games that they're winning at the beginning, Isa, like they were not playing well. And this was echoed by Jamie Carragher. He was concerned as well. So I'm not too sure. Yeah, £100. I'll put it on Chelsea, even though Chelsea are still so inconsistent. One game they play really well. The next game is so flat and flaccid. But even with that into consideration, yeah, I'll put my money on Chelsea. How about you, Chelsea? Mo? What do you say? £100.
I'll put it in Liverpool. I'll put it in Liverpool.
Based on what? Based on what, though?
You're very inconsistent. You're very inconsistent.
I'll admit that.
Are you even okay? Let me ask you something then. So, are you confident you're going to be Arsenal at home? So Liverpool beat Arsenal at home, one way or the other. Are you confident you're going to be Arsenal at home?
Yeah, I am. I am a little bit more.
You are confident.
Even without.
Now let's go there, man. Let's go there. We're going to still do another preview next Friday for the game.
Yeah.
But let's actually talk about this because there is a big talking point about Chelsea. Palmer is out. He's injured.
Okay,
do you trust your team at Stamford Bridge to beat Arsenal?
Yes.
And what are you basing that on? By the way, by that time, they might have some players back.
Well, that's ifs and buts. I think the most important thing
but
is
we know one thing for
month.
sure. You won't have Palmer. We know
that's okay. We won't have Palmer. Firstly, Chelsea are going to be at home. Secondly, when we play against the bigger teams, right? Chelsea always play a much more ambitious football. It's a lot more gung-ho football. When you play teams, like I'm a little bit more worried about against Burnley tomorrow at 12:30. We go there. I'm not underestimating them at all because they're actually a very decent team. But I'm more concerned about Burnley than Arsenal because teams like Burnley, the best way to get at Chelsea is just to set up a low block and frustrate the hell out of them. When Arsenal come to Chelsea, Geezer, that's not going to happen. They're not going to set up a low block. Yeah, that means the game's going to be a lot more open. And if you have a look at the history this season, Mo, yeah, when Chelsea play the bigger teams, they usually go for it. And if this happens, we will create chances.
You think you can go for it against Arsenal and open up?
I do.
Tosin and Chalobah at the back.
Oh, let's put it like this, Mo, yeah?
Fofana, right? Let's say Fofana stays fit. Fofana and Chalobah.
Sorry, what was that?
So Fofana and Chalobah at the back, you want to be open. You want to be expansive against Arsenal. I'm expecting you to be expansive, but you think that Chelsea, that is your best chance of winning the game.
I do.
Against the best defense in the league.
They don't have Gabriel. Now it's a whole new story.
Yeah, we're not a one-man defense.
Calafiori will bring in Mosquera, and then it's done. There's levels to defending.
What do you mean levels? Like Arsenal have the best structure. To be honest with you, if Arsenal,
but they're not even like the guy before was going. You know what?
Okay, Mark. If you ask Neil, can back me on this, right? Maybe I'm deluded. If you ask Arteta today, Arteta, I want you to tell me how do you want Chelsea to play that will suit you when he's like, I need them to open up and be expensive and have the ball and come at us. He will tell you this. He will tell you that would be a dream, bro. That would be a dream if Chelsea open up and actually give us spaces because we can defend. They struggle against low blocks.
And do you reckon that Arsenal are going to play a low block, Mo?
Arsenal never play a low block. They only did it when they went 1-0 up against Man United.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Arsenal are not afraid of putting lines and being structured and putting people behind the ball. They're not afraid to do that. They know how to do this. They're masters in this, Arsenal. They're masters of come at us, try to break us down. Do you think you're not Sunderland? You're not going to ask.
But a lot of teams, Mo, don't go to play at Arsenal and go, yeah, we're going to go and attack them. And the one or two teams that do go to Arsenal and go toe to toe, that's when Arsenal start to panic a little bit.
Who did?
Of course.
Who did?
I can't remember. There's been a couple of teams. Neil, you can back me up on this.
Go ahead.
I think, I don't know about the evidence, but I do think the best. Listen, if Chelsea come at us, Chelsea will come at us, yeah? They should actually play on the counter, in my opinion, against Arsenal. You're at home. I know it sounds mental to say that. The best way, I think, to get at Arsenal, I said this before, Mark, on the podcast, is that when you had that, we had that run, yeah, where 3 games in a row, we didn't even concede a shot on target. That's, to me, suggested teams were just beaten in the tunnel. We were beating teams in the tunnel.
Exactly.
And if you're good enough, you should come at us. Having said that, if you do open up against us, and when you go toe to toe against us and it's a knockout, I think we're more likely to knock you out. if you go toe to toe with us. And I know it's at the Bridge, but we ain't lost at the Bridge for a few years, man. I mean, if I can't remember last time we lost to Chelsea.
2017. 18.
Thank you, Mo, for that. I appreciate it.
18.
Thank you for reminding us.
No, but I don't believe in these things. I don't believe in superstitions and stuff like this. I never believed that in football.
No, it's the next game.
Because to be honest with you, this last just a side note. We spent 6 derbies against Milan, winning every game as Inter, and then we lost 4 or 3 in a row. It's just and then Inter was like, oh, what was the last time we got beat by Milan? And then bam, get knocked out, get beat, not winning.
What I will say, Mo, if they want to come at us, and I agree with you on that point, right? History's
So
history
maybe,
for a reason.
Do you guys win in 2021? Maybe. Am I going to check it now? I'm going to check.
Against us, they may have done. I don't know where.
I've been told plenty of times it's 2018. Let's check head to head. The last time Chelsea won against Arsenal at home. I'm going down again. I reached now 2021. 2020. No. Okay, it's 2000. No, that's Europa League. In the league. Oh, it's 2018. 3-2. August 18th, 2018 in the league at Stamford Bridge. That's the last time Chelsea won against Arsenal at the Bridge in the Premier League.
But it's history.
No,
it's history. It doesn't matter,
exactly.
Right?
You just said about
like
5-10 minutes
I don't
ago.
care. I'm just correcting.
Season doesn't make a difference.
I am just
10 years ago doesn't make a difference. Let's see what happens.
I'm just correcting the chat.
Yeah.
So
You're right. You're right.
He said I'm lying. He said I'm lying. So I'm just correcting the guy.
I love this guy.
But
I'm just actually responding to the chat.
When they put it on us, and they will at the Bridge, because Chelsea, you're right, will come to play. If they get the lineup right, which Maresca more often than not doesn't,
exactly.
If they get the lineup right, they will cause us problems.
We
are the best defensive unit, but they will cause us problems.
Are we scapegoating from now into Maresca? Like, is that an excuse? Are we doing it 10 days before the game? Oh, but Enzo Maresca put the wrong lineup there, so Chelsea could. Are we doing that from now?
No.
Like 10 days. No, you're an Arsenal fan. But are you giving the Chelsea fans the stick from now? So they can just hang it to, by the way, but Maresca didn't play this guy and this guy.
For the record, even if Maresca gets it right, I have us favourites for that game. But if he gets
I think you're crazy. This is what I think you're crazy.
You think I'm crazy?
I think you're crazy.
We're favourites for the game against Chelsea.
Against Chelsea? I think you're crazy.
You think Chelsea?
So you think Chelsea are favourites?
For me, Chelsea should win this game on paper. Not on paper.
Chelsea, with me the whole time,
no, hold on. No. Chelsea should win this game because they're at home. But if Chelsea are going to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal, that will actually get Arsenal to win the game, in my opinion. Right?
Will they go toe-to-toe?
But hold on. This is what I think. I don't think Maresca is going to do this. Because the reason why, I have evidence. PSG. You know how he played against PSG? Absorb, find the spaces. That's what he did against PSG. That's how he battered PSG. You know what I mean? He didn't go and try gung-ho football, press with 7 players like he would do against smaller teams. I think he would be able to do that, in my opinion, Maresca. He should be able to do this. My point about Arsenal being overconfident, it's that you're going to Chelsea. If you're that confident, does that mean you think that the gap between you and Chelsea is that big, Neil?
Yeah, it's big. It's bigger than 5 points. I think we underachieved last season. I think we saw. Now, Chelsea have got better since last season, but I think there is a gap. There's definitely a gap. Listen, we're saying we're the most complete squad. We can't say on one hand, Arsenal are the most complete squad, that bookies and everyone has them favourites for the title for a reason. They're more mature now. And on the other hand, look at a project that is about 3 years behind us, full of talent, Mo. And then say there isn't a gap. There is a gap.
I'm gonna ask you a question. And there's people in the chat, guys. You know the question that I asked yesterday. I'm gonna ask the question to you. Tell me the teams that you think Arsenal should go to away from home, and it will be okay to lose or draw in the league. Every other game, you think in your mind, yeah, this is a winnable game. We should win the game. Just tell me, Neil, quickly.
Look, it's never okay to to lose or draw, right? But circumstances dictate.
But it's acceptable. What I mean is acceptable.
We might go to Villa and get a point. I'll be very Villa's drop points. Villa is a drop points place. Okay, so to take that. So you think if you get a point against Villa, it's okay, but if you get a point against Chelsea, you'll be disappointed because you think you should win the game. Yeah, I think we're favourites to win both games. I think we're favourites to win both games. Okay, let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. So the answer is no. The statement that I said is wrong. Are you? What do you mean? Okay. Do you think it's okay? It's acceptable if you go to Villa and get a point, you'll be content. But if you go to Chelsea and drop 2 points and get 1 point, you will not be content because you think that you should be beating Chelsea away at the Bridge. I think we should beat both of them. But I think there's a lot of teams that it's acceptable. It's a good point. I tell you what, Sunderland away, good point. The way they're playing and catching them under the lights on a Saturday night, when you know they're up for it and they're on a run, Sunderland right now, because they won't be on this run forever, Mo, and there'll be a good time to go to Sunderland. But we caught them at a bad time. So you look at it and go, you know what? That's a good point. Away to Stamford Bridge after Spurs, Bayern Munich in the same week, a point is a good point. But I'm greedy, Mo. I want to win the game. I think we can win the game. Being greedy is different than being okay. You know, I think we're favourites for both games. I can talk about okay. I want to win every game, home and away. But I'm being realistic. I say in the league, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so you can answer the same way. Yeah. I am not expecting and demanding a win from my team away at Napoli. If it happens, I'll be happy. I want to win. I'm greedy as you. I want to win. If I go to Juventus away, you know, if I win, I'm greedy. If I get a point, I'll be content. If I lose, I'll be upset, but I won't say I'm very disappointed. You know what I mean? I'll be like, yeah, if I play well and lose, it is fine against Juventus. There are other teams. If I go away to Lazio and I'm expecting a win, but if I drop a point here and there against Lazio, against Roma. So I want you to give me that list of you as well as Arsenal. Which list you think? But for me, if I go away at Genoa, I'm expecting a win. I want you to give me that list of yours. You know, it's so important for Arsenal, Mo. I'll answer it slightly differently. It's so important for us to, against the rest of the big six, to come away unbeaten for us, right? Like, let's be honest. I just told you that Chelsea are going to finish above Liverpool. If Chelsea are going to finish above Liverpool, then in my head, even though there is a gap, we still need to maintain the gap to Chelsea. It's important that we maintain the gap to Chelsea. It'll be more disappointing to drop points to Chelsea than, look, there'll be certain games in the season where we might have a bit of a lead and, okay, we end up drawing a game. We went on a run, Mo, where we went, I think, 2 or 3 years without losing. You're dancing around the question. Mark, in front of you, he's dancing around the question. The question is very straight. He's dancing around the question. You're dancing around the question. You're dancing around the question. I've got my dancing shoes on, Mo. You're dodging the answer. Give him the list, Neil. Come on. You're dodging the answer. Chelsea, Man City, Aston Villa. Because the list, you know why? Because yesterday, I was doing a show. We were doing a show in Image. And the Arsenal fan, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can't remember who was there. And they said, only teams I'm expecting is Liverpool and City. I'm like, so that means you're expecting Arsenal to get 100 points then. Your expectations for Arsenal to get over 100 points. Because if you're expecting your team and you're demanding your team to win all these games, you're demanding 100 points. And that's not realistic, in my opinion. That is crazy. Of course it's not. But then also getting a point at Chelsea is good. Unless people think that there is that the difference between Chelsea and Arsenal are the same between Fulham and Arsenal. And it's not why it's a good point, though, Mo. I'll tell you why it's a good point at the Bridge. I think we'll get 3. But it's a good point at the Bridge because if we go into this week, Spurs, Munich, and then away to Chelsea, that's, again, a tough week. Sometimes it's more about the run of fixtures, Mo. So if you show me a run of fixtures where Arsenal, we've got a rough run coming up, right, at some point, it's the teams you'll pick will be based on the run that you have. Now, I don't know the run off the top of my head, but I do know that we've got Spurs, Munich, and Chelsea. Then I think we've got Brentford, and then Brentford at home, and then Villa away, and then Wolves. Exactly. So a horrible run, that won't be a bad point against Chelsea.
Horrible.
Now, if we played Chelsea at another time, Mo, just a one-off game out of nowhere, yeah, I'd want the 3 points, and I still want the 3 points, but I'd be disappointed if we didn't get the 3 points. Whereas because of the week we're going into, it's a big week for us, Mo. All of our teams are going to have it, and our week has come up, and we did something really well against Sunderland. Was the third of 3 away games, right? We picked up 7 points out of 9. We were 20 seconds away from picking up 9 points. It was a good point at Sunderland. Same with this way. It'll be a good point at Sunderland.
I'm going to speak from a Chelsea perspective, but let me do this. Thank you, John, for being generous and the donations. Appreciate you, buddy, so much for the donation and supporting the channel. As a United fan, I know never to underestimate a club that is 9 to 12 points behind, especially a club and capable of Liverpool. And capable as Liverpool. It is crazy to think they can't win the Premier League. I hate to say it, but it's true. I am saying now, I wouldn't count Liverpool in, right, the title race, because I don't even trust Liverpool to beat Forest. But I wouldn't put it out of the realms of possibility that Liverpool start picking up points, especially because Arsenal are playing Chelsea. Arsenal are playing Villa away. Chelsea are still playing Bournemouth away. They're playing Arsenal, you know. So City as well. So it is kind of a little bit
But
tricky.
Mo, who are you putting your money on? Chelsea to finish above Liverpool or Liverpool to finish above Chelsea?
He went Liverpool.
You went Liverpool.
Yeah.
Most people go Liverpool, Mark.
Yeah. How did you play against Bayern Munich in the Champions League? They actually win toe-to-toe. Chelsea win toe-to-toe. Tried in the first 20 minutes. Chelsea were trying to take it to Bayern.
They got caned.
I thought they had a very good 20 minutes in the beginning, and then it didn't, like, I think it went away from them because of the experience, the manager as well. End of game week 5, Liverpool were 6 points out of Arsenal, and then Arsenal had a 14-point swing in the next 6 games. So with all the injuries Arsenal have, I can't rule out Liverpool with 27 to go, but it's me. There's 8 points now. That means Arsenal have to drop 8 points and Liverpool have to gain some points on them.
Mo, have Liverpool drawn any games this season?
No.
It's basketball.
It's actually good. You know, it's actually good that you don't draw games.
Yes, but I know exactly what you're saying, because, you know, 2 draws and a win is not as good as 2 wins and a loss, right? I get that. But that could also prove to be a bit of insight in terms of how Liverpool are. They're a bit kind of all or nothing. They're a bit basketball-y. There's less control about them. And yes, you might win games like that, but you will also lose games like that and drop points, as we've seen. They're just not consistent enough, Mark. I can't put £100 on them. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think Chelsea are more consistent than Liverpool.
Oh, fair enough. We'll see. Chelsea are more consistent. We'll see. But will Arsenal give spaces to Chelsea more? No. So I don't think Arsenal will give spaces to Chelsea. That's why I think if Chelsea go out and try to actually play toe-to-toe, it will be tough for them. Arsenal tend to be complacent against weaker teams. Well, like currently, Arsenal beat Man United with a set piece. Arsenal lost to Liverpool, drew to City. And I don't think the Chelsea game is the make or break for Arsenal at all. I think the smaller teams are the make or break for Arsenal. I genuinely believe so. But
you never know. By the end of next week, Chelsea could be ahead of Arsenal.
Why?
Because we're only at 5 points behind them. If Arsenal lose against, okay, fine. Well, all right, then we'll be on points with them. Because
if Arsenal lose against
Spurs, Chelsea beats Burnley next week. Okay, Chelsea beat Arsenal. That means Arsenal have lost 2 games consecutively. And then Mark, you woke up.
I don't found that the cover was not there.
Because I think that you will beat Tottenham.
Okay, no. I'm gonna.
It's not guaranteed.
Listen, we don't have a lot of time because I know that you guys have to drop out. But I'm gonna ask you, Mark, a very simple question. What is more plausible to you? Arsenal dropping points versus Spurs or Chelsea dropping points away at Burnley?
Arsenal dropping points against Tottenham.
And you winning away at Burnley?
and we winning away at Burnley. Yes, exactly.
I think we're going to see some drop points this weekend, Mo, and I include Man City in that as well. By the way,
Newcastle, yeah, tough game away in Newcastle, but Newcastle are rubbish. But I wouldn't rule it out.
They're good at home.
City drop.
They're good at home and rubbish away, aren't they? Yeah,
no, Newcastle are. I don't think. I think you're good at home.
They've only lost to us in Liverpool, I think.
Actually, Newcastle are 14th on the table, so they won 3 and lost 2. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, Newcastle are not good this season, but it's a tough place to go, to be honest. They can be up for it, especially after international break and stuff like this. But listen, I want to thank everyone that is here, guys. Thank you so much for sticking by us. Hit that like button on the way out. And these guys' podcast, the Frenemies podcast, is in the description. I want to put the links for their podcast. So can one of the mods please put the link in the chat, guys? I'm just actually going to click on it now and put it in the. Here you go. Guys, click on that link. Go and support the guys. Absolutely brilliant. Both of them have a podcast called the Frenemies Football Podcast. Check it out, guys. It's right there. Just click on this. Go and support them. They're trying to get to 1,000 subs. It's easy. We want to get them at least to 500 subs after the show. So go and support them. They're very good shorts and everything. Appreciate you guys for being. Appreciate everyone supporting the channel. Thank you all for being here. And this will take you to Lewis. And we'll see you guys after this.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.